Hello, dear friends. I hope you're doing really well. Let's continue reading. We're in the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 14. Now, yesterday we read about this sad event. It was a sad event when Moses was supposed to speak to the rock, but he lost his patience. He you know what, I don't know exactly what was in his mind, but he was surrounded by his unbelieving people, and he lost his patience, and he struck the rock instead of speaking to it. And God told him, told him and Aaron, none of you are gonna go into the promised land because you did not believe me. And we know that God tells the truth always. So that is what happened. And so Moses and Aaron are not going to go into the promised land. But now let's keep reading Numbers 20:14. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Now Edom, we know Edom is a name from Esau. You remember Esau, the brother of Jacob? Isaac. Abraham had Isaac. Isaac had Esau and Jacob, twins. But Jacob is Israel. Jacob and his children is Israel. Edom is not Israel. They are related. They are brothers. Jacob and Esau, Edom. Jacob and Edom are brothers, but they're not Israel. Only Jacob and his children is Israel. Edom is a different people. Okay. So, and Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. That's, you know what, I'm going to go to the American Standard. Okay. Okay. From Kadesh, Moses then sent messengers to the king of Edom. Thus your brother Israel has said, you know all the hardship that has befallen us, that our fathers went down to Egypt, and we stayed in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians treated us and our fathers badly. But when we cried out to the Lord, he heard our voice and sent an angel and brought us out from Egypt. Now behold, we are at Kadesh, a town on the edge of your territory. Please, let us pass through your land. We will not pass through field or through vineyard. We will not even drink water from a well. We will go along the king's highway, not turning to the right or left, until we pass through your territory. Edom, however, said to him, you shall not pass through us, or I will come out with the sword against you. Again, the sons of Israel said to him, we will go up by the highway, and if I and my livestock do drink any of your water, then I will pay its price. Let me only pass through on my feet, nothing else. But he said, you shall not pass through. And Edom came out against him with a heavy force and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to allow Israel to pass through his territory, so Israel turned away from him. So this is, dear friends, I just remember, I just recorded the video in Spanish, but I didn't remember this when I was recording that, but I remember now. This is an important event. God will mention this, I believe, in Deuteronomy. Now, you remember Isaac had two sons, twins, Jacob and Esau. Esau is Edom. It's the same. Edom means red because he had red hair and was very hairy. So Esau's Edom. So Edom are the descendants of Esau. So they're brothers. They're related to Israel. They're related. They're brothers. But look what they're doing. They're doing wrong. Israel is sending messengers respectfully asking, please just let us go through your land. We're not going to stay in your land. Are they saying we're staying in your land? No. They're saying we're going to go through your land. Just go through so we can get to the promised land. We're just going to go through. We're not going to go to your land. Nothing. If we drink water, we will pay for it, But what does Edom say? No, you will not go through my land. Otherwise, I'll take my sword against you. So this is an event, dear friends, God will remember this. God will remember this. God is going to say, I believe in Deuteronomy, how you wanted to go through their land and they wouldn't let you, this is not a good thing that Edom is doing. And we're going to see that most of the time, not all the time, because there are going to be times where the people of Israel and the people of Edom get along. They respect each other, they get along. But most of the time, no. Most of the time, they're going to be rivals. Edom is going to go against Israel. Uh, so it's not good. It's like a permanent enemy, kind of. I hate to say it like that, but it's true. There is another people called Amalek. Amalek comes from Edom. Amalek was a descendant of Esau, but Amalek, however, they have made their own people, but they're Edom too. But now this is Edom. They are almost always, not always, but almost always against Israel. Now there are times where no, we were reading at home here, 2 Kings in chapter 3 or 4. There is a situation where the king of Israel, the king of Judah, and the king of Edom are together against the king of Moab. So they're together against another king. There can be times where they are together, the king of Israel and the king of Edom, but most of the time no difference. And we're going to know later, God judges Israel. He takes them away to Babylon and then he brings them back. I don't know if it's to Babylon to some other judgment, but we know that the people from Edom, they don't want Israel there. So it's like an perpetual kind of enemy, Edom. And it shouldn't be like that. They're brothers. But they're not. Even there is I don't know if one or many prophecies where God will definitely judge Edom. If he said, I love Jacob, I hated Esau. Esau is Edom. Now, people say, oh, why does God say that? God is so this and that. Difference, God knows what is in people's hearts. God knows everything. God knows the past to the present, the future. Do you know the past, present, future? No, you don't. I don't either. But God does. So God, when He speaks because He knows. Okay? Sometimes, so many times, we think we know more than God, and we don't. We're finite. He's infinite. He's eternal. Okay? So this is a situation that Edom it's saying here, I'm not going to let you go through my land. So what does Israel have to do here in the book of Numbers? They turn away. So Israel turned away from him. So Israel had to go to the promised land, but not through Edom. They got to go to another way, another route. Had to take another route. Yeah. So this is an important event. Now I'm going to say something else from chapter 14 till now. We're in chapter 20. The 40 years in the wilderness are not finished, but we're going through it. Many of these events are happening within these 40 years. So it's obviously been more than 2 years in the wilderness. We're inside the 40 years. But at the end, somehow, even though we have 16 more chapters of Numbers, somehow at the end of chapter 20, it's almost the end of the 40 years because Aaron will die. Now, Aaron died when he was 123 years old. So the end of the chapter is kind of going to the end of the book of Numbers. Aaron died when he was 123 years old. I know Moses later, not yet, Moses in the book of Deuteronomy will die when he's 120. And I know Aaron was only 3 years older than Moses. So somehow at the end of this chapter, we're almost in the 40 year of the, almost, near the 40 years of the wilderness. So very near to the promised land. We're very near. They're in Kadesh now. That's close. They're surrounding the promised land somehow. So we're in this period now, and in the next chapter, uh, we're going through the 40 years, dear friends. In these chapters that we're reading, we're going through the 40 years, and pretty much a little later, they're not there, but they're almost the promised land. They will get to the promised land in the book of Joshua. In Deuteronomy, they are already, Reuben and Manasseh, two tribes, they decided to get some land on the other side of the Jordan River. But we're getting close to the promised land. We're getting close, and we are within that 40-year period of in the wilderness of the people that they, the judgment of God, So we're going to stop here, and tomorrow we continue with the death of Aaron. And God willing, we'll continue tomorrow. Bye-bye.